Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. Yes, I'm making sure that all the things that are supposed to be happening are happening. Here we are. It is Friday, February 4th. It is Friday. Can you believe it's Friday? I can't believe it is Friday. And here we are once again taking a look at headlines from our city, our state, our country, taking a look at your comments, your ideas, your suggestions. Today, we are going to really have an interesting broadcast because all the second half will be audience participation. Yes, we are going to have a series of questions, a series of food for thoughts. Some of them are based on news items, others are just, why not? Let us all engage in a nice participative event today, and it'll all make sense in a second. Somebody sent me a couple of thought-provoking, not provocative, but thought-provoking questions about the way we behave or not behave, and I am curious to see how everybody feels about that. We have news about the mayor being reluctant to take a booster shot, and we'll get to tell you why. We have some interesting cultural knowledge about the Charro Festival, along with some sad news, unfortunately. And I want to make sure that you're perfectly well equipped to rob an OXXO. Should you decide that you want to rob an OXXO, we want to make sure that you have everything set so that your theft is successful. I am being facetious, you know what I'm being. And oh my goodness, somebody was diagnosed with cancer. Here we go. We have been hit with junk mail. Really, it's Isaac Michael. Just take your knowledge somewhere else. Anyhow, here we go. We're going to start with our broadcast, but not without encouraging you to let us know if you're new to the broadcast. If so, just write the word new in your comments and we'll be happy to give you a nice welcome. And also, if you have something truly important that you wish to share, as long as it's not spam, like this colorful long message we received, please add the letter Q to it at the beginning so that we can make sure that we address it during the second half of the broadcast. Let's go for it. Well, this is just a quick and dirty from our mayor. Our mayor, Luis Michel, is encouraging everyone to go get a booster shot, but he's not getting his. Why? Because his first and second vaccines were Pfizer, and he's waiting for Pfizer booster shots. Well, we may or may not get Pfizer booster shots, and what is interesting is that Mexican authorities have said that you don't need a same brand booster to get boosted. So it's interesting that the local press has not wasted any time in giving our mayor a little bit of flack for making encouraging the population to behave one way and he behaving a different way. I also want to give you good news. During the month of February, we are expecting 19 cruises to arrive in Puerto Vallarta. Obviously, it is February 4th. Some of them have already arrived. And just as a reminder, our governor has been very keen in indicating that all cruise ship passengers are welcome as long as they can show a negative COVID-19 test if there are any active cases on board. Moving right along, I want to give you a little bit of knowledge about the Charro Festival, which is now in town. Is there such a thing as Lady Charros? Well, there is and there isn't. Some of the skills that are part of the competitions are men-only skills, but ladies have their own skills. For starters, I want to introduce a word into your vocabulary, and I know I wrote it down here somewhere. It's escaramuzas. I don't have it here. I don't have it handy. My bad. Escaramuza. I think I can show it to you if I go back to this screen. There it is. Escaramuza. So an escaramuza is a lady that that practices the sport of how do I explain this? I'm at a loss of words. Okay, it's like synchronized swimming. It's like synchronized swimming. What women do in these Charro championships is they train their horses to move in a very specific way in synchronicity. And that's what escaramuzas do when they come to compete. And several teams of escaramuzas are competing. And there are some very specific, there are some very specific parameters that need to be followed as to what the ladies have to wear, and the clothes have to be of a certain fabric and so forth and so on. So this is just so you know that there is such a thing as escaramuza competitions going on as well. The sad part of this, however, is that there was an accident on the highway for one of the teams. One of the teams lost 4 mares in a highway accident, which is absolutely devastating. Think about all the time that these ladies get to spend training their horses and spending time with them. They are like members of the family, and unfortunately, 4 of the mares lost their lives. So it is a sad day, or it's a sad year for the championship, as these ladies will not be able to participate in the competition as they would have wanted to. It is a sad thing, isn't it? I mean, to lose a pet is bad enough, and horses in this case are almost like pets, I am sure. Let us look at the weather, and we continue with the rest of our broadcast. I'm introducing a new event for the Winter Olympics this year, Outrun the Avalanche. Ouch. That's kind of shady. Yes, the Winter Olympics have begun. I'm not paying much attention. I'm wondering if anybody is. And I'm wondering why, well, I'm wondering about the Olympics. Anyhow, it is 23 degrees right now, feels like 25. Humidity is at 66%, and our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 73. Let's see, our forecast for today says that we're going to have a clear day with a high temperature of 27, low temperature of 17. Tomorrow, Saturday, we'll have a partly cloudy day with a high temperature of 28 and a low temperature of 18. And on Sunday, we are going to have, again, a partly cloudy day with a high temperature of 29 and a low temperature of 18. We still are enjoying these cool days, which I particularly enjoy. Now, what I want to do next, because each one of the things that we're going to tackle next requires its own comments. Let me take a quick look at what you have so far, and then we'll continue with the comments as we go through each one of these audience participation exercises, and I hope you're into this. First of all, we see a lot of great good mornings as always, and we love those. Do biddy bum bum boom. The market at the marina was great, says Janet Scott. How fun to be walking around the market. I miss doing that. Let's see. Audience participation. I better get a second cup of coffee, says Michel. Well, it's nothing complicated, but I want to make sure that we're well prepared to engage. Uh, good morning from Lo de Marcos. Oh my God, I haven't been in the North Shore in a long time. We had friends connecting from Guayabitos yesterday or the day before, and every time I see these hellos from other parts of the bay or nearby destinations, I feel a little forlorn as I have not been anywhere in a while. Let's see. It does not matter what the booster is. Bad information. You are absolutely correct, Jenny. Why our mayor chooses to wait for a specific brand of pharmaceutical is a mystery to me. Um, let's see what else. Marianne, I've had Astra, Pfizer, and Moderna. I took what was available. That sounds like me and consuming wine. I drink Merlot, Cabernet, whatever is available. Let's see what else we have. Sad news about the horses. Yes, absolutely. Sorry for the long post. No worries. Here is the link for David Bowie's Peter and the Wolf. David Bowie narrates Prokofiev, Peter and the Wolf. Thank you very much for that link. I'll definitely take a listen to that one. Scott, it's been a while since I've heard it. Thank you so much for sharing. And I am caught up with your comments. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a news item and then I'm going to ask you to comment on it. You see, apparently a foreigner got away with robbing an OXXO that is not far from the main avenue. I think it's a he. Maybe it's a she. Let's see. It's a sujeto, so it is definitely a he. A man that looked like a foreigner went into an OXXO, took things, started cursing, and ran away. And the employee chased this guy, and this guy ran away to Los Tules across the street where he was staying. And then the police came, and of course the Los Tules security guards, being who they are and what they do, decided not to let the police in because they figured he's a guest, regardless of whether he's a thief or not. The news item also mentions that this foreigner was inebriated. Now, we don't know if this was an English-speaking foreigner or a Latin American foreigner. All we know is that he looked like a foreigner. What concerns me is that if we decide to go robbing an OXXO and we start spewing colorful metaphors and bad words, I just want to make sure that our diction is okay and that we are saying the best four-letter words we can. So my first question to you in this audience participation section is, if you were to rob an OXXO while being intoxicated, what exactly would you say? And I am looking for your favorite insults that you would say, because I want to make sure that you're connecting well, and just to make sure that you are well equipped to rob an OXXO. We are going to use, and I was just thinking about this, we haven't been to the library in a long time, and I think we are due for the library. So today I have our chingonario handy, just in case that we don't know enough colorful metaphors to rob OXXOs in the city. We're going to go through a couple of them just to make sure that we can enhance our vocabulary. So while I'm waiting for your favorite four-letter words to curse while you're robbing a shop, I'm going to look for something in the dictionary. As you know, if you are recently a member for Coffee and Headlines, Chingonario is a wonderful book where you can find, it's in Spanish, of course, you can find all the different ways in which you can use the word chingar or derivatives of it so that you can express yourself. And we have, oh my goodness, we have our first contestant. Kim says, chingalo would be her favorite word to use while in the OXXO and robbing somebody. So interesting. Chingalo. So I'm picturing myself walking into an OXXO, grabbing a bunch of cupcakes or whatever and saying, chingalo. That might work. But let's see. I'm going to open randomly a page in the Chingonario to see what we find. Oh, this is good. I'm sorry, I'm holding this with one hand, so it's not so interesting. It's not so easy. So today we're going to learn chingue y chingue. But first, before I tell you what chingue y chingue is, oh my God, this is more complicated than I thought with a bad arm. Anyhow, let's see some other colorful epitaphs. Let's see. Oh, Dan says, a friend got into an argument with a guy who was illegally cutting down a tree. The only word that he knew to insult him with was chilango. Well, chilango is a person that is from Mexico City. So I don't know that your friend's heart was broken with that, because it's not very harmful, but it's a nice try. Ricky says, if I was to rob an OXXO, I would say, ay, coño. I think Scott would be a lot more effective with chinga tu madre, which essentially means go fuck yourself. Lona says, boy, did I tune in at an awkward moment. We're robbing OXXOs. Of course we're robbing OXXOs, Lona. I just want to make sure that should you choose to rob an OXXO, you're properly equipped. Oh my God. Oh my God. Gary says, pinche pizza, food, y atún Dolores, which are common items that you can get at an OXXO. That's a good thing to do. You know, you can just curse the things that you are about to rob. That is wonderful. Javier Mendoza says, manos arriba, babosos. Quiero toda la pinche lana, which means hands up, you motherfuckers. I want all the fucking money. That's effective. That's very good. Okay, so while you come up with other colorful metaphors, I'm going to explain the one that randomly came up on the book, which is chingue y chingue. This is one that I love because chingue y chingue is the one expression that you say to someone when they're just constantly bugging you with something. Here's an example. What did Mr. Gutierrez want? Asks one person, and the other person answers, he wanted his payment. He was chingue y chingue all week long for it. So when somebody's bugging you to do something over and over and over, that's when you use chingue y chingue. Okay, so let's take a couple of other colorful metaphors that you might use if you rob an OXXO. Alcanza el cielo, peón. I'll see you in heaven, you dinky worker. I love it. That's nasty. That's nasty. Okay. Anyhow, that was the first thing that we were going to do. Let me see, what else did I have for you? We have gone through the thief, and we have gone through the chingonario, and the other one is a little bit more wholesome. And I'm going to get rid of chingonario first and foremost because we don't need it anymore. And oh. Quítense tarugos y denme el dinero. Get out of my way, you morons, and give me the money. Angelica, that's good. That's really good. And maybe you have some experience. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Anyhow, I want to let you know that part of my process of healing is I've been very patient. I've been a good patient. Patient and patient. I've been very patient and I've been a good patient because I've kept this thing on all the time except for when I take a shower. And of course, now that I'm hopefully healing, I'm getting antsier. So there's a lot of things that I miss doing. And maybe you live here in Puerto Vallarta and you miss doing certain things because of the pandemic or because your lifestyle has changed. Maybe you are not in Puerto Vallarta and there are certain things that you miss about Puerto Vallarta. So let us get a little nostalgic here, if we may. I love it. Janice says, "Boy, did I tune in at an interesting conversation." Well, all I'm hoping, Janice, is that next time you go out and rob a convenience store, you have some interesting things to say on your way out. But we're over that exercise. This one is very simple. Let's just complete this phrase. Puerto Vallarta, oh how I miss. What do you miss from Puerto Vallarta the most? If you're here, maybe it's something that you haven't done in a while. If you're not here, what do you miss about the city? I can tell you, I miss my left arm, and I miss being able to walk about. I miss the times in which the city was not as crowded in certain areas. Marie says she misses the people. Oh, Mark says, you when I'm gone. Oh, Den misses the people as well. That is very nice. I miss the food. If I was ever not to be here, I would miss the food. Definitely. What else do you miss? The friendly people. Fascinating. That is so nice to read. Kimberly says, I miss my friends. Scott says, Puerto Vallarta. Oh my goodness, look at all your comments. All of a sudden you are flooding. I love it. Puerto Vallarta and the smells, food, and just being there. Food and the sound of the water. I miss the events and the good restaurants. Alan misses los churros. I love it. Walking everywhere and feeling local. Jenny, part of the reason why I chose to move to Puerto Vallarta is because I wanted to be in a small place where I would feel like a local, and that stems from the fact that whenever I used to live in Boston and used to visit Provincetown, I used to love going to Provincetown in the off season because it made me believe that I was one of the locals, because there were few people such that the people that were already there remembered you. It is difficult to remember people that come and go when there's so many tourists. Karen misses friends, sand, ocean, dining out, people. The list goes on. I am healing reading your comments. This is beautiful. Walking the Malecon, restaurants and people. I miss walking the Malecon. It's probably one of the first walks that I'm going to do when I feel safer walking about with just one good arm. Feeling safe enough to go out and play live music with other people. I love it. We miss going to shows at the Palm, and this is COVID related. I understand that. I was at the Palm recently, and I was fairly comfortable, but I can also appreciate how COVID makes things a little bit uncomfortable for some people, and that's okay. We all have our own comfort levels. Harold says, I miss a Jewish deli. I didn't even know that we had a Jewish deli. Or maybe you mean to say that while being in Puerto Vallarta, you wish there was a Jewish deli in town. That's still good. Oh no, Glee. I didn't know that you were wearing a medical boot, because I've seen you walking. I hope that whatever is making you wear a medical boot is not of major concern, and I hope you continue to heal. Maggie misses sound of waves, toast in the sand, and street tacos. That's definitely three of my favorites. We have a counter. 17 more days and I will be in PV, says Linda Barry. I miss the great weather and the wonderful food. I miss finding a parking spot. Angelo, you're on to something, because there are certain parts of the city in which to find a parking spot nowadays is increasingly complicated. The sound of crashing waves. I miss going to Pancho's Tacos. Too crowded during COVID. Something weird happened to Pancho's Tacos that everybody just gravitates to that taco place. No, nothing wrong with that. It is a wonderful place to eat tacos, but there are so many other wonderful taquerias nearby. Um, let's see. I miss going to Miss Maloya uh, and hanging out. I haven't been to Miss Maloya, to one of the Palapa restaurants, in a long time. Uh, this is wonderful. I thought it would make me sad to read your comments, and it's making me feel good that we're sharing all the wonderful things that we love and miss. Uh, David misses the wonderful food in German from Garbo's wonderful Carmen Miranda Martinis. Yes, German is a great bartender. He sure makes some wonderful martinis over there. Um, Paula says the adventure is our biggest goal. I love it. Um, Scott says he'll be here in a day. Good for you, Scott. May your travels be uneventful. And let's see. Apropos of nothing, the wife went to Onigiri Casa for lunch yesterday at 1 p.m. She and her friend walked in and was told they don't open until 1:30. She told them the website said 1 p.m. He was surprised but sat them down for a great lunch. Some owners do care about their clients. That's good to hear, Mark. I'm not familiar with Onigiri, but that's good to hear. And we should always commend restaurants that take care of their customers. Oh, that's right. We have another one. We have another one. Hold on just a second. This was sent to me right as I was getting ready to begin the broadcast. This was sent to me by somebody that reads and watches, and it's an open question. We don't know the details, but the question is it the waiter's responsibility to learn English in Mexico? If there is a mistake, whose fault would it be? The waiters or the guests for lack of interest in learning any Spanish, and more so if they are full-time residents? Ouch. This sounds like there was something that got lost in translation at a restaurant where a waiter could not speak English and an English-speaking local could not speak Spanish. We don't know the deets. We don't know what happened. We don't know who won. We just know that this may have happened. So, what do you think? Is it the waiter's responsibility to learn English in Mexico when Spanish is the official language? Or is it a long-term, full-time English-speaking resident's responsibility to know enough Spanish to communicate with a waiter? Boom. Tómala. So let's see if anybody has any interesting comments about this one. And that is our final audience participation bit for today. It's been a lot of fun reading what you guys have to say. And all of a sudden, you are very silent. Bill says, use Google Translate. That's a good option. You know, if I was at a restaurant and I couldn't communicate, but who should be using Google Translate, Bill? The waiter or the restaurant guest? Individual responsibility, says Gary. Deb says the latter. So I would assume the latter to mean the person that lives here. Christy says, I believe it's the customer's responsibility all the way. Residents should learn Spanish. It is the resident's responsibility to learn the language. Can I expect the waiter in the United States to speak Spanish? That is an interesting flip. You know, if I go to another country, if I went to Japan, I would not expect the Japanese waiter to know how to speak Spanish. It would be my own responsibility to learn Japanese. I love it. Jenny is, I love this. Just eat what they put in front of you. That is a great way to solve things. Okay, everybody or most people here seem to say that it is the resident that is to blame. They have the menu in English. They can point what they want. Well, that's not the case in all the restaurants, Angelica. And this is food for thought for any English-speaking local living here in Puerto Vallarta. Once you get out of highly touristy areas, you can't expect restaurants in other cities, in other parts of Mexico, to reliably offer you a menu in English. That is simply not the case. Uh, Heather takes a different take. I think it's the responsibility of the restaurant manager to ensure the right fit at each table when necessary. Okay, that's a good answer, I suppose. But what if the right fit is not possible? I wonder. And I'm not saying that Heather is right or wrong, or any of these points are right or wrong. Um, Scott says maybe both if we all care about each other. Um, we need to learn Spanish or at least make use of Google Translate. We, the non nationals, need to learn. I think it's interesting. For example, when you go to the bank, I mean, restaurants are used to caring for English speaking guests here in Puerto Vallarta, so it would make sense for a restaurant owner or manager to hire wait staff that speaks both languages. But banks and Telcel and Telmex, they don't necessarily make it a requirement. And I have been to those shops with English speaking friends, uh, because you walk into Telcel or Telmex or the bank and they don't speak English, and they don't feel bad about it. I mean, it's they're Mexican businesses doing business in Mexico. Um, Anyhow, I don't mean to say that either one of these is right or wrong. I just think it's an interesting question that was sent to me, and I shared it with you. Um, Lona says, I call those adventures in language. I think it depends on restaurant location. If it's in Malecon, English expected. Otherwise, how bad do you want your food to order? Good point. I suppose this particular person didn't seem to feel the sense of cheerful adventure, and something must have gone wrong. If you live here, at least you could learn simple restaurant exchange. Well, if you want to be fed, that makes perfect sense to me. Um, if either party doesn't understand, they should communicate that, then that both could try arriving at a solution. Yep, these are all really, really good. Um, Alan says, you get what you get and don't pitch a fit. Um, Great, great comments. Great, great comments. Uh, Rita says, a long time ago, I mistakenly ordered brain in France. A big brain sat in front of me and I ate it. Lesson learned. Interesting. Uh, in Japan, we accidentally ordered 7 carafes of sake. We just laughed and drank all of it. Then we went to the theater and did not have any idea what they were saying. Well, that makes perfect sense. My mother went to Tokyo. She was offered a bowl with green stuff, and she thought it was guacamole, and it wasn't. You can imagine what it was if you are a sushi eater. Um, Heather says, enjoy the questions and the interaction today, Paco. Thank you very much, Heather. We're always looking at we're always looking at different ways to engage with you and make sure that you enjoy the experience of coffee and headlines. Maybe we'll have one of these more frequently than not. Anyhow, it is past 11, and I think we've had a good, entertaining coffee and headlines today. I enjoyed myself. I thank you for sharing the things that you miss. I was not expecting to get gloomy or happy. I just figured we would acknowledge together that there are things to look forward to. There are things that we miss, and hopefully we will be in a place, in a position to enjoy these things that we miss in the near future. Uh, Bill says, what happened to... Oh my God, yes, I forgot about that. Thank you very much, Bill. Yesterday, we were getting close to the end of our broadcast, and I was in the middle of saying something, and all of a sudden, boom, Telmex stopped sharing internet with me. And then it came back a few minutes later. I realized that the thing froze and we stopped broadcasting. I figured, do I try to get people back in? And I figured, no, we're at the end. So my apologies if yesterday we seemed to enjoy broadcasters interrupt us. We never know when that'll happen. Let us hope, let us wish for that not to happen again in the near future. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be back tomorrow with more merriment, more news, and let's see what else comes up. Between now and then, stay connected, stay kind, stay healthy, and stay in touch. Goodbye.